My name is Sean, and I'm an alcoholic,
Hey, Sean.
um, which means that when once I start drinking, I can't stop drinking, and when I try to stop, I start again, unless I can replace whatever that is with some sort of spiritual answer. At least within the paradigm of AA, I'm sure maybe there's other ways that they don't work for me. I'm pretty sure of that. Um, I like to say in the beginning when I start speaking always, I am a fallible human being. I will do my best not to be an authority. If I share an opinion, it's part of what worked for me. It's not I'm not in any way like a spokesperson for AA, like it's either like something that like I've done and and like, try it at your own peril. Hopefully I say something that you guys can relate to. I found in AA in general, um, I get a lot more out of stuff when I try to relate to what people say, than when I'm like deconstructing and judging and like comparing and stuff and trying to separate myself from everything. I found that separation is dangerous for me, and I do a lot better when I try to relate to how people felt and not really like look at like what they did. So that said, when I first started drinking, it was really fun. I had a really good time. You know, uh, the first time I got drunk, me and my friend Eamon stole a half gallon of Stolichnia from his dad, and we drank all of it, and we took a bunch of expired Dextrogen, also that he had found, because drugs are part of my story. Drugs are kind of a bonus though. Like I know this is an AA meeting, so I'm going to share about alcohol, but I'm just going to let you guys know that I did a lot of drugs. Like I was an intravenous drug user, but alcohol was the only thing that I needed. Like all that other stuff, like I didn't need any of it. It was just like extra, kind of like how like we get a bunch of gifts from being sober, but like really all I wanted was to be able to stop drinking every day, but I get like all these beautiful things in my life also. you know that's kind of like the same thing that like drugs were, they were fun, but like I needed to drink every day, and so I did. But in the beginning it was really fun, and I had a really good time, and I did a lot of had a lot of like I probably didn't really have that many consequences in the beginning. Like I guess I got sent to treatment. I stole a bunch of money from parents. Uh, all the stuff. Escaped from treatment. Got like minor consuming charges in like tons of different states. Spent the night in jail a couple times, but I didn't really. It didn't really matter because like um, when I wasn't drunk, I felt like I was an alien and I couldn't relate to anyone, and I just felt separated from everybody. And then when I was drunk, I felt like I was a part of. It's like I had been like holding my breath my whole life, and then finally like I drank some alcohol and I could like let it out and be okay. And then eventually that stopped working. It stopped giving me the effect that I wanted to get from it, which was like to feel at ease. And I started drinking, and when I drank, I still feel like a piece of shit. I'd still feel like guilty and afraid, like just fear. That's so much fear, and like comparing and like thinking that I knew what everybody was thinking about me, and it was all horrible and it was all bad. Um, and like a lot of the decisions that I was making and a lot of the ways that I would get money to like continue to be drunk, I didn't, I couldn't uh, not think about those things anymore. So like that's what it means to me when I say that it stopped working. Like if I were to go out and buy a bottle of like whiskey, I would definitely drink the whole bottle of whiskey, and then I would keep on drinking until I was stopped, either by being like knocked unconscious or like brought to jail. But like, and I would get drunk, but I wouldn't get the effect that I seek when I drink alcohol, which is to take that stuff away, to take, the shouting at me that I'm like horrible and I'm an alien and like, I'm less than and all that stuff. So I can't, I don't get that anymore. I don't get the relief that alcohol brought, just the bad parts of it. Um, so I guess what happened, um, let's see. Um, I had this, so I guess I'll talk about what a couple of my bottoms first, just because that's kind of what I do usually when I share. So there's the one that I always share that I guess I'll just share again. Um, uh, I remember I hated myself so much. I just hated myself, and I was going through like a breakup with this girl that I was dating because I had no self-esteem, and I thought she was like my whole world, and you know, she kept on like cheating on me, and I kept on taking her back, and then we were broken up like for the 100th time that I thought it was like the final time. And I was sitting in my house and I wasn't drunk, and I was like looking up on the internet. I was trying to find the most painful way to die because I wanted to die, and I hated myself. So I was on the internet, just like Googled like what's the most painful way to die, and then so what I came up with is kidney failure is a particularly painful way to die. So a little more backstory on like me is I'm from Juneau, Alaska. My parents own an organic health food store, and like we don't have food in my house. We have like weird shit in the cabinets because like the health food store is like a couple blocks away from our house. So like if we want food, we just go to the health food store and get the food. So like in the cabinets, there's like weird stuff that you'd find in like a witch's cabinet. There's like, you know, like eye of newt or like bergamot root. And I remembered, and so I looked up like ways to induce kidney failure, and one of the ways was wormwood. You can drink wormwood to induce kidney failure. And I'm like, I think I saw some of that in the cupboard. And then so I found the wormwood, and then so I went upstairs, and I thought about, I like ruminated on like I definitely want to kill myself, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it because like I'm a coward, you know, like I don't think that I've never been able to do this. I thought you needed like some kind of strength to end your life. So I lit a cigarette and I put it out on my hand uh 13 times. I don't know if you can see that, it's there, the scars. Um like put it lit it, took a drag, and then just like put it out on my hand, and then lit it again, put it out on my hand 13 times, and then I put it out on my face 4 times, which I don't think you can see in this light, but you can kind of see those two. Um, because I wanted people to see how ugly I felt on the inside. Like I just felt so like horrible. And also I wanted like to be able to not face the world. Like it was like this weird crazy logic that like if I did that, then like I would have, you know, I would be able to do it. So then I went down and like looked at myself in the mirror with like the burns on my face that I just made in the bathroom, and I said to myself out loud like I'm going to kill myself tomorrow. And it's just like the Royal Tenenbaums, like where Luke Wilson says that and then cuts his wrists. I love that movie because that's exactly what I did. I just like I made the decision to kill myself. And then I like ate a bottle of Tylenol and chased it with the wormwood, which was also nice because it's an extract, so it had alcohol in it. So that was good. Uh, and then I like went down to the forest, the Coe Park by my house, and like sat against a tree and like sat and waited to die. And then the pain became really bad. Like the pain was so bad, and I don't think I wanted to live, but I didn't want to be in pain anymore. So I crawled home through the rain. um, oh yeah, I also had punched out a window earlier that day, and I was really excited about it because I'd never been able to do that. I always pull my punches. My hand was all cut up and burned. And like so I had like a t-shirt wrapped around it. So I like crawl into my parents' room and I like shake my dad awake, and he looks down, and I used to feel really guilty about this, like me on the floor, like just pale and like just like, you know, like covered in blood and burns and stuff, and like shook him awake, and I'm like, hey, you need to take me to the hospital. And then so he takes me to the hospital, and the doctor takes my blood, and they asked me like how much I took and when I took it, and I told them the truth as far as I knew it. And the doctor told me, you didn't get here in time, we're not going to be able to save you, like we're going to give you the antidote, but you're probably going to die, and you should pray to God. And I said, fuck God, to this nice doctor who's trying to save my life, you know, just in front of my parents who were like scared shitless that I'm gonna die, just like cursing God's name to the doctor. And then so I sat and I waited to die, and through the night, and I did die obviously because I'm like talking in this room. And then this nurse came in the morning, and she's like, oh my God, you should thank your lucky stars. You're so lucky to be alive. You should thank God for your life. And I said, fuck God, to this nurse who's just trying to be nice to me, you know. And then I drank for 3 more years. So kind of what I mean to say by all that is that like I've been in like some pretty heavy horrible situations, and I don't really believe that there's such thing as a bottom. Like the last time that I drank wasn't that bad. The last time that I drank, like I went to a party with some girls that I met on OkCupid, and like I told myself that I wasn't gonna drink a bunch of times, and I like came in the door and I drank, and then I woke up at home, like uh, and like I'd already like been in the program. I remember being in the party, like looking myself in the eye in the mirror, being like, "You don't have to tell anyone. You don't have to reset your sobriety date. Just like this is a one-time thing," you know. But like it wasn't that bad, and so I think that like there have been times where like my higher power has reached its hand or whatever appendage into the gutter, and like been like, It's enough, like you can stop now if you want to," and I just like slapped it away, you know. Or like or another, or maybe it's like you first step is given to you. I don't really know, like I when I work with people, when I work with sponsees, it's hard for me to like, if they don't have a first step, I don't really know what to do, you know, because you can't like impart that. Like you can like talk about like, you know, like powerlessness, and you can like, and almost everybody, if they're in the rooms, they understand powerlessness or they wouldn't be seeking help, you know. Like so, but like having that like I'm fucked like in your heart, you know, like I don't know how to give that to somebody. It's just like they have it or they don't. They have the gift of desperation and they're willing to do the work, or they're not. um so kind of what happened is I woke up at home after going to this party with these girls, and I called up I woke up at home, you know, and I called up the girl that I'd gone to the party with, and I was like, "Hey, what's up? What happened?" And she's like, "Never call me again." And I'm like, what did I do?" And she's like, "You know what you did." And I'm like, I don't." And she hung up on me. I was like, "Okay, that was weird." And then so I call like this other girl that I've been like seeing that like worked at a gas station down the street, and like that I don't have no recollection of like seeing her that night, and she's like, "Never call me again." I was like, "What the fuck?" Like I wasn't even hanging out with you. What happened? And she's like, "Never call me again." I'm like, okay, that's good, clear boundary. And I hung up, you know. And then so it hit me. Just then it hit me like a ton of bricks. That like I like travel all over the country. Like I have a bunch of crazy stories I could tell you about, like being like a 3-card Monte hustler all over the country with a bunch of like old black hustlers, and like and just all these crazy things that I've done, like being homeless and like living in like abandoned houses in Portland, and like all the, you know, all the stuff that we do, or we don't, we all the yets, like I've done most of the yets, and like somehow I woke up at home. It doesn't make sense. It does. I don't know how to explain that, but it like blew my mind. Like because I went to this party like a couple towns over, and I was in a town that I'm not from with people that I didn't know, and I woke up at home, and like I really should be dead. Like there's not. I should be dead. I don't know. Like something is taking care of me. Like I have this very. I'm getting goosebumps right now talking about it. Like something is taking care of me. That's the only way to explain it. Like fucking chaos theory aside, it doesn't make sense. And before that, I had never believed in God, and I had never believed in anything besides like I thought that like if I like the first time through the steps, I thought that if I worked the steps, then I would stay sober, and I had no higher power. You know, I just like it was all me, and like and I got fucked up. And the second time I tried to do it, I didn't have any friends, and I didn't really talk to my sponsor. I didn't trust my sponsor, um, and I got fucked up again. So this time, when I got drunk, I just threw myself into service because I'm like, okay, I've gone out. Like, there's the 3 sides of the triangle. Like, I've screwed up this side and this side. Like, I'm not screwing up the bottom. Like, and so I got like really involved in, you know, became like the chair, the H&I chair for like Northern Arizona things, and like got a new sponsor that I trust, and like worked the steps all the way through, like a bunch of times, and I got relief. Like I remember the like I was more happy like this time, this sin of sobriety, at like 2 weeks than I was at like 9 months, like hands down. Like I needed to drink. It was important that I drank and had that experience. So I guess, how am I on time? Um, I guess what it's like now is I have the tools to the steps have given me the tools to be a spiritual person, and on from living like on a spiritual basis within the principles of AA. Life is just better in every way. I remember that when I went through my 6 and 7, I implore you, if you haven't done like a thorough 6 and 7, like do it, because it's rad. Like my sponsor had me go identify the things from like, you know, 5th step, and like find the patterns and like the my defects. And for a month I was supposed to notice when they came up, like not do anything about it, just notice when they're coming up in my mind. And then 7, I was supposed to, when they come up, ask for them to be removed, for like a month. And I just did that. So 6 and 7 took 2 months for me. And I remember like during 7, like I felt like I was on ecstasy. Like I felt like I was at a meeting and I was with some of my friends, and I was like drinking this coffee, and I thought that someone had like dosed my coffee, because I just felt so happy, you know. And I was just like, I'm like, I need like someone to drug test me, because like I will you guys drug test me, because I think and they're like, no dude, you're just happy. And I just never been like that happy before. um and then you know, just like doing all of my amends was really really cool. um just being able to like be anywhere and be okay. Like I went to Portland to make amends to my old band, from Portland. And I went to a cocaine party to make amends to my drummer. And there was like people like shoving plates of like mountains of like cocaine in my face, and I'm like, I'm not here for that. I'm here to talk to Gordon. I wasn't really able to make amends to Gordon because he was on a lot of cocaine, and I don't know if you've ever tried to make amends to someone on cocaine, but like I'm like, hey Gordon, like I start to tell him things, and he's like, wait, there's a thing I got to show you, and he like run away, and then I'd be like, oh, okay, and then all these people are like, so I'd like go find him again, and I actually ended up leaving because I was with a friend, who is like a, you know, normie-ish, and they had a problem with cocaine, and they were uncomfortable, so like I helped them to leave the situation. Um, so like that whole like I can be anywhere as long as I have a reason to be there. So like kind of how I look at life is like, where's the camera? There we go. So me to you, this, I'm doing the me to you motion. This is what's important. Like this around is not important. It's not really that important. Like me, the connections that I have with people are the reasons that I'm in a place where I am. So like I can like go to a bar and like sing karaoke if I'm there to like sing karaoke with my friends. It doesn't really matter about the bar. Like I'll definitely be noticing how fast people are drinking. I don't think that's ever gonna go away, but I'm not like tempted by it. So like let me see. There's another thing that I usually say. Um, oh yeah, the other thing, the one of the things, ways that I can do that is that, so through like prayer and meditation and cleaning up the records of my past by doing like thorough inventory, and making amends to people. um, I've developed God consciousness, and so how that lives for me is like in my sternum, like right here. There's like this sense of serenity, or I'm uncomfortable. And then so if I feel uncomfortable in a situation, then I get the fuck out of that situation. And then if I feel serene, then I think that it's probably okay. And then if that gets like clouded, it's because I need to do more work. So my sponsor told me that there's promises for every step. When there are, you can go through and find them. The promises are just like, so the book is made up of um, like instructions, like the prompts, and then promises and examples. So there's like the stories that tell you like, this is a man that promises like, this is what will happen if you do this. So the promises are like a reverse checklist of like how I'm supposed to feel if I'm working a solid program. So if I'm not recoiling from alcohol as if from a hot flame, and I'm not acting sanely and normally in response to liquor, then I need to do it. I need to do a better 10th step in my life. Like if I'm like regretting the past, then I need more to do more amends. If like I don't feel like connected to my creator, then I need to do, I think that one's from 5 or 3. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. One, I guess, closing things, like, so each time I go through the steps, I get kind of like a deeper understanding of the things, um, of like what they are, like the integral, like, mind blowing thing that happens. So like what I discovered from two, like one of the cool things. Oh yeah, for one, I went through one again, like through the 12 and 12 with my sponsor, and we talked about just intentions a lot. So the having honest intentions about like what I'm gonna do, and if I have honest intentions and things, then I usually feel better about any decision that I make. Then for like two, open-mindedness, like I realized like something that I try to do every day that like has given me probably the most relief out of anything in the steps is that I am not necessarily right. So both of my parents uh, met in collegiate, like, national debate tournament, and like my family is set up on like the church of being right. It's like all about being right in my house, and like you have to be able to like prove your point, so like that's like a big part of my makeup. So just remembering that like I am not necessarily right, and like there's another way to look at this, has really helped me to get along with people. Also, like, be the honesty thing, again, going back to that, is like when I was drinking, I prided myself in being like brutally honest, and it really like polarized like my friend groups. People either really hated me or they really liked me because I just said whatever I thought. And I realized like in sobriety that like you can be honest and kind. Like you don't have to be just honest. Like you can be both. And since realizing that, like I'm able to get along with most people. Um, I don't, I don't really have people that I haven't met anyone in like a long time that like just doesn't like me, which is cool. And that I like them too, because like I realize that I don't have to be right. Um, yeah, and then like the third step is just really cool. I'm not gonna go through all of them, don't worry. It's just really cool because like, um, it kind of goes back to like the realization that I had when I was struck sober this last time. Was is that everything is the way that it's supposed to be right now. And if it was supposed to be a different way, then it would be that way. So like if people will ask me like, "Hey, will you pray that like my car won't have gotten broken into?" And I'm like, I don't I don't think that that's how that works. Like I'll pray that you'll be able to accept it if someone broke into your car. Like but, but I don't think that like God intercedes. I think that like things just happen, and I don't believe in like predestination or anything. It's more simple than that. It's like this is the moment that is, and that's okay. And then when I can realize that, I'm usually pretty good in the moment. So I guess what's going on for me right now is that I am slightly homeless, and I broke up with my girlfriend because I was in kind of a unhealthy relationship, a toxic relationship with my girlfriend. So I like broke up with my girlfriend, and now I don't really have a place to stay. But I'm pretty sure that it'll work out. And like one of my friends in AA like told me like hey man, like if you get out of that situation, you can stay on my couch as long as you need to. Um, and then so that's happening. And I'm in school, and I feel pretty good. So I don't know. I think everything's gonna work out. As long as I continue to like, I wake up in the morning and I ask God like, "Hey, will you help me? I want to help at least one person today." So that's my intention every day, is to just to help at least one person, and then hopefully everything will work out. Um, it's really good to be back on this meeting. I really missed being on this meeting. Uh, yeah, I guess I don't really have much else to say. I don't really know what I said. That's another thing. I used to like incessantly pre-plan my shares and try to say stuff that like mattered, and now I just talk, and then hopefully what I said helps somebody. I think I covered all the what it was like, what happened, what it's like now. So love you guys. Hope you all are having a good day. Yes.